in the hearings, some of the hearings that have been going on, saying the defendants are aware that a select set of agencies, in fact, terminated a number of employees at the end of last week. How many? They can't say. Why?
Do we really care that much? Do voters care that much? No, let me say this. Do voters care that much? Do voters care that much? That's a serious question.
About
whether he is in charge or isn't in charge. We have a president of the United. Hold on.
Do they care about the jobs or Elon? Is what I'm trying to clarify.
I'm saying, do they care whether he's in charge or not in charge? Or do they care what's getting done every single day? Because from what I'm seeing. What's that?
Yes, they have the right to know.
No, that we have a president of the United States who executes and makes these decisions every single day. He made that clear in their press conference with them.
Why would they avoid the same accountability that every other agency head has? I mean, if the public has a right to know about who's the head of the Department of Homeland Security, why not the head of DOGE?
Well, he is, from what I understand, what's called an SGE, a special governmental employee. That happens all the time throughout government, where people come into the government, they are unpaid,
now,
and serve as advisor and save advisors for roles. That's what I'm saying. That
are they from South Africa?
Well, let me finish. This is what happened. Yeah, this is what happens in government all the time. But everybody's worked up because of what they're doing. That's my point. The president is the president. He has advisors all the time around him. Are we worried about every single agency and who's doing what at all times? No, of course we're not, because it's Elon Musk and Donald Trump. That's why we're blowing it out of proportion. But I would argue
it's also because there are reportedly tens of thousands of people, maybe many more than that, losing their jobs, entire functions of the government no longer functioning. I'm just saying it's not just because people are suddenly interested in the nitty-gritty details. It's because all of a sudden whole swaths of the government that were functioning before are not anymore. And don't you think?
Well, no, I don't think that's true. What do you mean the government's not functioning?
The entire Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is not functioning. That's an entire.
Yeah, but that's I'm tagging you
as a congressionally authorized agency. Go ahead, Ashley.
I think two things are happening. I actually don't disagree with what you're saying. I think that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are placing a bet that the American people actually don't care. But I think Democrats have a responsibility to explain why they should.
Yeah.
My sister's a teacher. She talks about her students being terrified that it's in Washington, D.C., that their parents are losing their jobs. It's impacting the students and how they show up to learn every day at that school. There are people in Kansas, farmers in the Midwest, who are not getting access to grants. Trump voters. That is what we need to be telling the American people. I think what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing is terrible. And as someone who loves our government and thinks that it's important, I do want to know all the ins and outs. But when Americans, we just learned this on November 5th, they actually might not care as much as who is in charge, but they do care what they are doing. This is where I disagree with you. And I think what Elon Musk and them are doing right now, deciding to fire FAA officials when it seems like we have a plane crash in this country every other day. People don't feel safe to fly in the air right now in this country. And what Donald Trump is doing feels like it's tone deaf. What Democrats have a responsibility to do is to translate that into the American people, not in Washington, D.C., but on Main Street, where their eggs are still too expensive, bacon is still too expensive, bread is still too expensive.
Government waste exists.
It does exist.
And I applaud them.
Then why do you guys keep defending it?
We're not defending cutting government waste, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have on X a numbers thing running with the amount of money you're saving, but then say, how dare you ask us how we're doing it or who's in charge of it? You can't do
or
that.
Where it goes. This is the other thing.
Where it goes.
I want the American people also to pay close attention to the tax fight that's about to happen. And I know we don't like to talk about the specifics of tax fight, but they're talking about all this money being saved. Well, you might want to expect then a check from the government to come back into your pockets, but most Americans aren't going to get that check. But do you know who will get that check? The 1% of billionaires and millionaires who are going to get benefits from these.
It's not going to make up for it. I mean, I'm just telling you the facts are, DOGE says that they have cut about $16 billion, which is a rounding error in the federal government's budget. But of that 16 billion, they claim they saved 8 billion. This is according to the New York Times. 8 billion's on a single contract. Turns out it wasn't 8 billion, it was 8 million.
Yeah, of course.
We're talking pennies here. In the scale of the 6 trillion federal budget, it's pennies. And to Ashley's point, there is going to be a tax bill, there's going to be a budget put forward, and it's going to add trillions in spending. So where is Doge actually making a difference, or are they just cutting things that ideologically don't fit?
Well, I don't think there was ever a promise made that we're going to pay for a tax cut bill with what Doge did or what they're doing. That was
I
never.
thought Elon said he
the
was going to
point
cut
of-
$2 trillion.
Well, that may be true,
from
but
the
I don't
federal
think the
government.
commitment was ever we're going to pay for a tax bill.
We're 1 month in.
Yeah.
Like we're 1 month in. Not, we're not even 1 month in,
But all
right? So
they're
it's not
saying-
even, it's not even February 21st. So, you know, like it's 28 days. It's 4 weeks.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Let's see what happens.
But actually, help me. Can someone help me? Why are we? And maybe you can. Maybe you can help me. Why are we talking about Elon Musk as someone who can come in and slash the government spending because he is in charge, and we're not like the guy who made my Tesla's in charge of the federal government? Tell me what are his
Just out of the blue
qualifications?
with no-
What are his qualifications?
no
and
hearing,
you can, I don't.
no
The president
clarity.
trusts
Don't
him.
give me.
The
Don't
president trusts him.
do not because the
The
president.
president trusts him. That's the president's prerogative.
That's fine.
You're going to be on the United
That's
States
fine.
Supreme Court.
That's
You're going to be a
fine.
Secretary of
That's
State.
fine.
I don't
That's
think either.
fine.
No, everybody that you just mentioned though goes through a hearing, a separate
Okay.
hearing.
Yeah.
That
But-
is my
but
point.
you can
There's
tell
no
us.
law.
But
There's
you can
no
tell us
law.
more than
There's
anyone.
no law.
How
It's
many
flawless.
positions there are very close to the president that are not confirmed by the Senate? You lived it.
Yes.
This
But-
man is asking for
but-
important information, and he wants to
but
play in my
we
taxes.
go through
No.
a 6-month security clearance, whether
Who
you
is
are
this
answering the
man?
phone or whether you're in the
Mom,
Oval
who
every
is this
day.
man?
Carrie,
You
hold on,
literally, if you are answering the phone or you are in the Oval Office every single
Correct.
day, you go through a what is it, a FX 68 or FS, you
Tell
know
us
what
what
the
you
number,
know.
what is some form. It is about 100 pages long. You have to fill it out before you can even walk in. People get calls for 6 months from the FBI, checking your background, asking questions. And then if you're on any boards, if you own any stocks,
You're
anything
fine.
like that, you have to relinquish
But
them
if you get
before
elected-
you get a .gov
Okay, just explain
email.
this to me. If you